I'm probably going to head across the border to South Australia for my love.
No. Actually, I know your love.
What's my love?
You got two loves. A, Kenny Hinkley, and B, David Koch. Did you see the footage? Look at this. I thought you were going to kiss him then. I was at home, right? I was at home watching this, right? And I thought, this is sick. This is sick. And last week I asked you, have you got a Port Adelaide doona?
Yeah.
And guess what happened? Guess what happened? A Port Adelaide doona arrived for you. And worse than that, a David Koch pillow and Kenny Hinkley underwear has arrived. And we'll talk to Kenny about that in a while.
You can take the idea too far, can't you?
Look at that.
Koshy.
Hold it up. I might take this doona, actually. I need a new doona. Might give it to Tiger. Might give it to Tiger in the kennel.
A bit of decorum, because the coach is with us at the Adelaide Oval, where Port Adelaide's just finished training.
I'm sorry for cracking a joke.
Kenny Hinkley, welcome to AFL 360.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks, Robbo.
Hello, Kenny. We just did Port Adelaide sent over a doona for Jared. Did you know that?
Well, I know that Jared's got a real love for Port Adelaide Football Club, and he pretends he's a Geelong man, but I think he's a Port man.
Did you know that they all sent over some Ken Hinkley underwear?
No, I certainly didn't know that, Robbo, and I'm a bit worried about that more than the doona.
All right. It's the serious stuff, Ken. Tell us, with the week off, did you take stock? Did you take stock of what's gone, or more particularly the opportunity that might have opened up here for Port?
Certainly, Jared. We had a look at and reviewed the start of the season, and obviously we're really pleased with our start to the season and the position that we find ourselves in. But I think the important part for us is that we know it's still only round 8, and it's a long way to go. And you watch the good sides over the weekend go about it again, and we see the Freo Geelong game, we see Sydney put another performance on, and we just know that the competition's so tough that you can't afford to do any more than really focus in on the next game you've got.
But the message changed, though. Sorry, Jerry, but the message had to change, Kenny, from pre-season to round 1 to round 8. I mean, there's all these brackets as you go along. The message is there's an opportunity here. There is. It's staring everyone right in the face.
Yeah, I suppose that's right, Robbo. I mean, as it stands right now, there's an opportunity there. But at the start of the season, we were confident that our pre-season had been really strong, and we're going to give ourselves a chance to be in a healthy position. Yeah, and you're right. The draw's been okay, and we've been able to get the wins that we needed to get, and we've put ourselves now in a position that I'm sure most clubs would like to be in, and we've got to make sure that counts, and that means we've got to get this weekend's game right for us.
What about the intent of your player group, Ken? At the start of the year, you had them as a group that was desperate to achieve and desperate to achieve now, even if that didn't necessarily fit into the big picture. Can you see them growing into the idea that maybe they're right and they can achieve something right now?
Yeah, Jared, I suppose I challenge him a little bit on that. Why can't it be? Why can't it be now? And why can't it be, this year for us as far as giving our absolute best? And that's all we ask for, is that we give our absolute best, and at the end of the season, hopefully we're in a pretty healthy position. But, for the playing group now, there's nothing wrong with us, I think, talking about, well, there's an opportunity there for us, and if we're prepared to work really hard, who knows where that opportunity is going to go and finish. So
there have been a couple of key markers already against Geelong and Fremantle, and it has the team labelled big game hunters. So, coming off the bye against Hawthorn, the reigning premier, how would you define this match?
It's just another great opportunity. I mean, we have had the bye in between, but we get to play, against last year's grand finalists in, consecutive weeks, and great tests for us. And yes, Hawthorn have had a couple of injury issues, but they'll still put out a really strong side. I mean, we know every team that Clarko's been involved with, they're just a really strong competitive unit. They've got their captain coming back in, so it's another great test. We do get to play them here at Adelaide Oval, which is a fantastic venue for us, and we look forward to filling it up again with our fans and really giving a good account of ourselves.
Is it about playing Hawthorn under strength and you think, thank God for that? Or, Kenny, do you think to yourself, I like testing my team. I'd like to see Hawthorn at their best so we can get, an indication where we are?
Yeah, Rob, I think we look at it as Hawthorn are at their best this week. That's the key message for us, is that we are playing a full-strength Hawthorn this week with what's available. Because on any given week, on who you've got to come up against, whether that's now or later in the season, what you have available on that day is what you've got to compete with and you've got to play against. And that's what we've got to look at. This is the best Hawthorn side they can put on the park this week, and we've got to make sure we're at our absolute best. Otherwise, that side will beat us.
18 months ago, I reckon 5 Port Adelaide players we've been talked about. Over the last 18 months, I think stories have been written about every single one of your players, some absolutely over the top, in what I imagine what you'd like, say writing about Chad Wingard. How have you been able to deal with if they get big heads? How do you identify if they're getting big heads?
I don't think that's an issue for us, to be honest. I think it's an issue about if we just continually, we think about the team and the team first, and that's what we talk to all the boys about, and they talk about that publicly and openly. They regard the team effort more important than their own individual effort. And you're right, there's not much we can do about some of the outside stuff that gets put on individuals, but we just need to make sure as a club we're always talking about the whole thing, and that's the whole football club, and that's what our players do, that's what our staff do, and that's what everyone involved with Port should do, is work really hard to be the best football club we can be.
Righto, can I go on the box for a second, Kenny? I mean, at other clubs they have their own sort of ladder indications of what they think's important. What are the important team aspects that you guys monitor that, you know, you put up on Monday or Tuesday and review and say, right, are they 1%ers, are they knock-ons, or have you got anything that jumps out?
Yeah, we do, Robbo. We look at lots of things. I mean, like every side, I'm not going to probably say exactly what we are looking at and what we're not looking at, but around the same things that everyone looks at. It's the contested ball side of the game that we really look hard at. We look really closely at our defence, and we obviously look close at what we're able to restrict the opposition from doing. That's the key things for us to really worry about. And our offence obviously comes on top of all that stuff. So we know that's okay. If we get a bit of time and space, we're all right. But the important ingredients for us is the defensive stuff and the contested ball stuff. But I reckon you could ask 17 other coaches and they'll give you the same answer.
We interviewed Jay Schultz a couple of weeks ago and he was terrific, and behind him was a footy on his table, and I asked him about it. People thought it was a stupid question until he answered and said, actually, I'm really proud I've got that. It's a signed footy from all the boys. And I can't remember, help me Jared, he won it for...
The game he just played.
The game he just played for the most courageous acts, yep, or something. Is that a weekly event, Kenny?
Yeah, look, it's something that we keep pretty private. It's something that the boys just, you know, want to acknowledge each other for certain parts of the game that they see as incredibly valuable to the team's success. And, you know, that's probably as far as we want to go with it, but other than to say it's a reward for great effort.
How jealously are you guarding the ground, Kenny, in terms of building an imposing record there? And I know right at the start of the year we asked who would own the Adelaide Oval, and right now you'd make the case that it's Port Adelaide.
Look, I think you know, it's fantastic for us. Each time we've been here, we've been able to perform really well and strongly, and our fans have come along and filled it up. And I think that's the key thing. If we get the crowd that we want to come along and support Port Adelaide, we'll own the Oval when we play here. Look, it's fantastic for South Australian football. I can be a little bit protective and say it's great for Port Adelaide, but it's really great for the state. You know, and even Thursday night, you see the full house that was here. Look, I'm sure the Port people will fill it up again this Saturday night, and it'll be another great spectacle for Adelaide.
Kenny, you played a lot of footy. I think you played in grand finals. You didn't win. You've coached a lot. Is this the most fun you're having in footy?
Yeah, it probably is, Rob. If I'd be really honest, it's an exciting thing to be a part of, and what we've been able to do as a football club, and the turnaround from where we've had to come from, and the belief that we've been able to get for our supporters and everyone that's involved with watching us. It's good that people like watching us play football, and for the right reasons. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know, I've always been someone that's probably got more from the coaching side of things than I ever did probably as a player. I enjoyed playing, but clearly as a coach, you get a connection with the whole team, and that's really important for me.
Training tonight, was it the main session, and can you get a gauge on how the team's come back after the weekend off from it?
Yeah, it was our main session. We did come back Sunday and train. We had a really strong session on Sunday, Jared, where the boys trained incredibly hard. And then again tonight we've come to Adelaide Oval because it's our first night game here, so we get a chance to, you know, feel the conditions with the lights on and just see what it's a bit more about. The boys have trained really well. I don't know if I can give you an answer as how good they've come back or how bad they've come back, other than say we'll find out at 7:10 on Adelaide time on Saturday night.
And the last one I wanted to ask you, there was a piece in today's Advertiser about the way you want your players to play footy and the risk of suspension, and simply don't get reported and don't get suspended. What was your thinking? What's your thinking around that? Are there players across the competition sort of frivolously getting themselves suspended?
Oh, I'm not sure about other players, but I think it's a pretty clear message that what you can and can't do almost. And I think, you know, if you can step over the line a little bit and run the risk and what can happen and what can't happen. I think all you want as a coach is you want your team to compete really hard and really fiercely at the contest. But I think there's some key ingredients, and you just need to make sure that you don't go too close to the line with some of them. And, you know, the bump's clearly one of them, and just little things that happen in a game of football. I think you can restrict most of that if you can stay in the team moment, not in the individual moment. And I think that's the important part for us, is that we stay remembering the team needs me and I can't afford to do anything silly here.
Last one in the coach's box, Kenny. What's the number one unconditional under your rule?
You win your own ball, Robbo. That's probably the number one thing. You have to be able to win your own ball in tight, because the best sides do it on grand final day, and you just have to be able to side that plays inside football. You know, and I learnt that a long time ago at Geelong, that you know, you have to be really strong in the contest inside, and then all the work from there happens.
All right, so as we finish, Kenny, with the prospect of Hawthorn on Saturday night, do you expect that you'll learn as much about your team in this match as you have in any so far?
Yeah, I have to, Jared. I really do have to. We have to find out every week that we play that we learn something new, and we'll learn another part for our team and another challenge for our team, because we do go into the game and we don't set the odds, but we go into the game as favourites against the reigning premiers. We know how we've got to go. We know how we've got to attack that contest for us, but we've got to be able to come and deliver that on Saturday night, and that will be a real learning for us, I think.
Kenny, really appreciate you coming across after training and sharing it with us. It's such a build-up to Saturday
settle
night.
Down,
It'll
Jared.
be great.
Settle down, Jared.
Thanks, boys. Thanks, Jared. Thanks, Robert. Jared, make sure you keep warm under that doona.
Ken Hinkley with us at the Adelaide Oval.
I'll just help with the word that you're struggling with. Frivolously. Does that come out all right?
Frivolously.
Frivolously.
Always say these things out loud
Don't
first.
try that again in the near future. He was great. Oh, they're fantastic, Port Adelaide. Not just talking about Port Adelaide. You know what I like talking about it? If they're the best team in the competition, I want me and you and people watching the show to get in the coach's box and find out what Ken Hinkley's doing to make his team play like that. And he never disappoints with his... He wasn't too big on the footy. Well, they give that out, but he was really good on the other footy stuff, isn't he?
Some things are to be kept private. We just eke one out every now and then.